Hi, Bryn. Hope you're having fun over in Italy, Turkey. Where's she at? Italy. Hope you're having fun in Italy. Here we go. I don't like this problem. Okay, it's a problem where we're doing our first example of doing the law of cosines this way. Let's just make the sides nicer, guys. Okay, let's just go 6, 7, and 8. All right. That way, I mean, we don't have to deal with the decimals. This is just gonna be easier to work it out for you. So I don't know why I made it like that. So 6, 7, 8. Okay. The first question is when you draw this triangle, you got A, B, and C. A is 6, B is 7, C is 8. First question is this: can you identify which of the 6 you're talking about? Side, side, side. Got 3 sides, no angles. So look at what your decision tree says. It says one solution, use the law of cosines. Now forget about the rest of this and jump to the bottom. It says just start by solving for the angle opposite the largest side. This is the important part of today, is that when you're solving for the largest angle, there's a reason for that. If there's an obtuse angle in this triangle, which angle would it be? C, because it's opposite side 8. Side 8 is the largest. Cosine knows the difference between obtuse and acute. It does. I'll prove it to you. Watch. If I take on my calculator, if I go cosine inverse of 0.2, it gives me 78. If I do cosine inverse of negative 0.2, it gives me 101.5. Is 78 in the first quadrant or the second quadrant? First quadrant. Is cosine positive or negative in the first quadrant? Positive. Look at the next one. 101 is in the second quadrant. It's obtuse. And cosine is negative in the second quadrant. So cosine understands if there's an obtuse angle. Sine doesn't. It can't do that for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to force out the obtuse angle. And the way that we do that is if we start with a side, side, side situation, we make sure that we solve for the obtuse angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. I know sides A, B, and C. I don't know which part of that formula. Cosine of C or angle C. I will use that to solve for angle C. So I just plug in the numbers. What's c squared? 64, a squared, 36, b squared, minus 2 times 6 times 7, 82. 84, yep, thank you. Alright, so here's the biggest mistake that people make. People add the 36 and the 49 and then they minus the 84. You can't minus the 84 because it's tied to the cosine of C. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 36 from both sides and we're going to subtract 49 from both sides. And when we do that, we get 64 minus 36 minus 49. And we get negative 21. So negative 21 is equal to negative 84 cosine of C. Will cosine of C end up being positive or negative? Positive. And if cosine of C is positive, are you in the first quadrant or the second quadrant? First quadrant. So are you acute or obtuse? Acute. So the largest angle happens to be an acute angle. If I divide both sides by negative 84, I get 0.25 is equal to the cosine of C. Go to my calculator. How do I solve for that? Cosine inverse 0.25, and I get 75.52. That's my largest angle. I still have to find the other two angles. How do I do that? Law of sines. Sine of, what's the only angle you have? 75.52 over 8 equals sine of, what would you like to find? I heard A and B. We'll choose A. A divided by 6. Is that my answer? Inverse, because you're solving for an angle. 46.57. How do I find B? 180 minus 75. What? $57.91. Does that match with the sides? Yep. Smallest is A, smallest is A, biggest is C, biggest is C. That's it. You have an option in that situation. You can either use this formula right here, or you could use this formula. It's already solved for cosine of C. Some people really like that one. You do whatever you want. I'm always going to use that one because freedom of choice. We've now covered this entire sheet. You have the area of the triangles. You have law of sines, law of cosines. You have the whole decision part. So that's what you're going to get. We're going to test next week Thursday, I believe. I have the study guide all ready to go. This test will be in before quarter 4 is over, or quarter 3 is over. So we'll start quarter 4 brand new. And hopefully your grade should be in good shape. Can you guys see how you can do well on this test? Let's give you a problem. Might give you a run for your money then. Okay, one more problem. There it is. Okay, flip to that one. Okay, yes. Sure. Some people are gone next week. I know Friday especially, and I understand that. So, fine. But, you know, we're going to have to take our test sometime. So, you know, that's why I'm trying to give it on Thursday. If you're gone Thursday as well, then we can probably do Wednesday. You shouldn't have any problem being able to fit that in. So, southernmost boundary of a four-sided piece of land is a river. So, I am going to draw a river. And I'm going to put fishes in the river. It's the van down by the river. Preston lives in the van down by the river. Sorry, buddy. You ever seen that sketch? Anybody seen the Saturday Night Live skit? Van down by the river? Okay, so there's your van. We'll get rid of Preston's name. There you go. Alright, so let us complete the problem. Okay, it says southernmost boundary of a four-sided piece of land is a river. If the three other boundary lines are 285, 564, 322, and the northernmost angles are 98, 105, what's the area of the piece of land? Here's the idea. On the test, I will actually label this for you so you don't have to do it yourself. We're going to call this 285. We're going to call this 564. We're going to call this 322. We're going to call this 98 degrees. Not the band. It's 105 degrees. Taylor Martinez is that in her iPod. Equal 98 degrees. All right. Yep. What? Do I have an extra calculator? Yeah. I'll give you a TI-82. Apparently, this was not good enough for some people to use yesterday. TI-82 is too old. It was ancient for them. That's what I got. All right. So this is what we got. Find the area. What do you want to use? You want to use the formula for the area of a trapezoid? Area of a square? Circle. Square sounds better. So, if we had this shape and we're trying to fit it into like a square hole, you know, like the kids do when they're real little, like Tenley's age, it wouldn't fit, Taylor. So, Scott, what's your idea? 2 triangles. Let's do it. 2 triangles. We know how to find the area of a triangle. You might say to yourself, well, Mr. Gens, those aren't right triangles. Doesn't matter. We don't need right triangles. That's what we figured out last week. Because it's not a trapezoid. Trapezoid has parallel bases. This is simply a quadrilateral. That's all it is. So, this is where you turn your formula sheet, and you've got area of a triangle. 1/2 AB sine of C. When you have 1/2 AB sine of C, or whatever formula you want to use, just remember it's 1/2 times the 2 sides times the sine of the included angle. So let's do that. 1/2 times, what are the sides? 285 and 564. Then times the sine of what's the angle included between those 2 sides? 98. So, well, that was easy. .5 times 285 times 564 times the sine of 98. 79,587. Now what? Last hour suggests we give up at this point. Taylor! Oh. Ooh. Ooh, lots of good ideas. I like what I'm hearing out there. If we want to find this triangle right there, you know, the area of this one, then we need to know this length, right? We'll call it C. And what would we use to find that? Law of cosines, because you have a side, angle, and a side. So we're going to use the law of cosines. Now, do you know this angle? No, we'll call it theta. Do you know this angle? No, we'll call it beta. So, do you know what theta plus beta is? 105. If I can find one of them, then I can find the other, right? So let's focus on side C first. Sydney, if you could hold back your enthusiasm right now, if I'm trying to teach, okay? So, we plug it all in. A lot of people want to label everything A, B, and C right now. If you want to do that, that's fine. But the important part is that you recognize that with the law of cosines, you're just simply using those 2 sides and the included angle. So it's 285 squared plus 564 squared minus 2 times the product of those angles times the cosine of the included angle. What's the included angle? 98. So, like I said, some people at that point, they'll be too confused and they'll say, and that's all right. If you're at that spot, it's okay. They'll say, well, that's A, that's B, and that's C. So instead of calling this C, they'll call it A, and then they'll use a formula and they'll go from there. If you need to do that, that's fine. I don't do that. Okay. Let's type it in. It's a big number. 285 squared plus 564 squared minus 2 times 285 times 564 times the cosine of 98. Is that the answer? Nope, screw it. $666, 38. Now that we've got that, how could you find beta? Law of sines, because now you have an angle and its opposite side. So sine of 98 over 666.38 equals sine of what? Beta divided by 285. $285 sine at 98. Whoop. Divided by 666.38. Now, $25.06. From Isn't it awesome how much geometry you're doing at this point? It is total geometry. Can you now find the area? So the area of the second shape is equal to 1/2 times 322 times 666.38 times the sine of 79.94. Scott has the correct answer. I'm going to do it on here so that our viewers can confirm. Our viewers, otherwise known as Bryn. Bring us back a souvenir, Bryn. I got a seashell today from somebody. Remember who that was. I try to think who it was. Somebody first hour. 105,637. .68. So if you want to know the total area, add them together. Oh, grab my answer. Add that to 79,587. 185, 225. Oh, I said 0.84, it's 0.52. I don't know. I guess maybe we had an 84 on that page, didn't we? Or there was? Okay. I don't know. Just trying to remember it. Didn't work out. Okay, so there you go. What you're gonna have a problem like that on the test. Promise. Yep. Yep. Promise. Got figured out. No. No, that's lousy. Very angry about that. Finally wake up. You have to rewatch this video. She slept through all class. All right. I'm kidding. Here we go. Section 6.5, page 518, numbers 5 and 8. You're solving for one angle, and then 13 through 16 is the whole triangle. And then I want you to find the area of this shape. So we'll check to see who has the same answers tomorrow, see who's right. What's up? Yeah, if you want to split it the other way, you sure could have. So you guys, my first teaching job was at this small school. When I taught this, kind of sad story, I got a letter yesterday when I came home. That school is officially closing its doors now. They're closed. They don't have teachers. They don't have students. So sad days. Long stories. Long story. They don't receive any public funding, so try to get money and stuff is challenging. Anyway, but when I used to teach there, just think about it. We found the area of a 4-sided figure. If you were going to find the area of a 5-sided, how many triangles would you divide it up into? 3. So we would do I give them a project right after this where they would do an 8-sided figure. It was fun. It was a good time. So that's it. I'll hand out your study guide. Or did I already hand it out? Okay, I'll hand it out. What? Well, let me just press stop.